Amy, when I interviewed Cindy, her voice would change, like something else was kind of talking.
Well, it was happening every time I talked about what it does, and then it starts doing this to me. It feels like I got this pressure on my chest or on my esophagus, like it's pressing down on it.
Is it possible that this DOA is jumping her, or is it something different?
Well, it's more than that because she's consistently blending with her.
That explained a lot of things. So.
All right, so any idea who this woman was when she was alive?
I would put her in her 60s. The illness that she suffered with was very long, and she was in a lot of pain. If I had to guess, I would have said, that she died from cancer. I felt like there was some kind of relationship between her and another deceased person that's here.
I want to take a shot in the dark here. Now, one of the first owners of your land was a businessman named J.C. Faulkner, and he moved here from Kansas. Now, his mother was a woman named Mattie Faulkner. She suffered from chronic and painful asthma for years. So in 1913, she left Kansas and moved out here to Fresno. Now, the hope was that you have this dry air out here, that it would help her illness, but unfortunately, it didn't. Just a few months after getting here, she dropped dead. She was 65 when she died, and Amy had said she was in her 60s. So I'm curious if you think Mattie Faulkner might have been the woman you saw.
No. She felt like a newer dead person, and I did have a sketch of her done.
You guys think?
Wow.
Apparently, this is the woman that's causing your voice and your physical being to be disrupted.
It makes me upset because, I'm not doing anything to her.
She feels the warmth and the love that you emanate, and you're kind of, unfortunately, taking on her misery.
Some days I get sad for no reason and I can't explain it and just want to curl up and cry.
Okay, Aim, what else?
The next person that I'd like to discuss is very creepy. He's constantly changing his form. When I first encountered him, I saw him weaving in and out of the ceilings.
I was sitting here on the couch watching TV, and I noticed it come into the room. It appeared that it was about this big, and I relay it to other people as a legless spider just because of the way it moved across the ceiling.
Wow. His whole thing is that he's a stalker, but he's not really that interested in adults. And I actually briefly saw him with this child that he was torturing. And she looked to be about 5 years of age. I felt like you might see her as well.
Okay. Why did it hit you so hard, sweetie?
I've had my daughter's babies over here.
You also saw a little girl.
Yes, I'd come down the hall and I'd see a little girl sitting on the end of the table.
Interesting.
Anything else?
The next individual that I encountered was a dead person that I'm worried about, and I called him the creeper. He looked to be in his late 50s, early 60s. I got that he was an upper middle-class businessman. I think he may have owned this place at one point. He showed me that he was in some kind of a really bad car accident and felt it was important that I knew this. I also felt that he may have raped someone while he was alive.
Okay, the rape thing kind of threw me off a bit. I don't have anything on that. But there was a man who owned this property that was a very successful businessman. And he did get into a deadly car accident.
Oh.
Remember I told you about Mattie Faulkner, who died from asthma? Well, her son, J.C., owned the property, and he was a very, very successful guy. In 1910, J.C. bought 6,000 acres of land in Fresno, including the property we're on right now. He got rich off this land. But money didn't bring him happiness. The year he bought the property, his wife died in childbirth. The next year, he got into a deadly car accident. Now, JC was behind the wheel of the car, but he hit a motorcyclist. He watched this guy die in front of him. So now JC owned the land until 1956, and he stayed in Fresno another 13 years before dying in 1969. Is it possible this could be the creeper guy?
Yes. As far as all the details, they all match.
Now, you said he's one of the ones you're the most worried about. Why is that?
He gets off on stalking people. He's always looking in windows. He is very open that this was a sexual thing for him, to kind of stalk people. And I felt like he had been busted a few times, that you may have seen him as like a shadowy figure.
Sitting here watching TV, I've seen shadow figures walking through the doors.
I can walk in my room, the master bedroom. I'll feel like there's something watching me.
I had a sketch done of what I saw this man doing.
Oh, what a piece of
I'm the one that sleeps on that side of the bed. That's even more sick.
He watches adults, male and female, and this excites him.
So, Cindy's going through a lot here. I want to show you some pictures that I have of her being assaulted by this person, her being scratched. Then you got, it's like a bruise, like you had a hand wrapped around you on her bicep area. And then this one's the choke marks around her neck.
I ended up having this person on top of me with their hands around my throat. I sat there just going, okay, this isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real.
You've had some other things happen to you that were inappropriate.
Yep. I thought my husband had snuck in bed with me and started caressing me and touching me. And next thing I know, I felt something on top of me. And I opened my eyes and there was nothing there.
I'm just glad that we're here and that we can put a stop to this as soon as possible.
I want to get this to stop. I want to be able to sleep.